capita basis, they might have just as much, or not that much less, or even some, more on a per capita basis. I don't know if anyone's ever done a statistical comparison between, what percentage of Unitarian Universalist ministers are guilty of clergy sexual abuse of one kind or another in comparison to what percentage of, Roman Catholic priests are guilty of clergy abuse of one kind or another, or what percentage of other religious communities clergy are guilty of clergy abuse of one kind or another. But I think if one did, one would discover that comparatively on a per capita basis, there's not a huge difference between Unitarian Universalist clergy sexual misconduct numbers and those in the Roman Catholic Church and so on. So in any case, the statement was quite, somewhat misleading because it basically played down the amount of clergy sexual misconduct by comparing it to the, much, much larger Roman Catholic Church's clergy sexual misconduct problems. So I posted a comment back to Eric Isaacson saying, well, didn't your wife tell you that no less than 400 out of 1,000 or so Unitarian Universalist congregations have been affected by clergy sexual misconduct of one kind or another? Didn't your wife bring that to your attention? And a few other things along those lines, essentially saying, well, your religious community has a clergy sexual misconduct problem that's actually quite serious. And one good thing too was some other people had already done that. Like this blog post goes back to 2016. This was the first I'd seen of it, so it was like more than a year ago. But a few other people had chimed in and said, well, yes, actually, no, we actually have a fair bit of clergy sexual misconduct. So that was nice to see some Unitarian Universalists admitting the truth. Well, anyway, I posted a fairly detailed comment, and I asked Mr. Isaacson, did he know why his wife, Susan Weaver, resigned as the executive, or as the vice moderator of the UUA, and resigned as a UUA trustee back in January of, when was it? I'm going to have to recheck this. But in any case, I think it was, okay, I'm not going to go into all the details about the dates and everything. They're not that important. But nonetheless, presumably sometime after that presentation was made, so here's David Horan saying it's about time you did something here to the women while he stands around essentially doing nothing. Well, David Horan's very good at shouting and yelling and so on. I mean, obviously he was joking, but it's not a pleasant kind of joke, really. It's basically suggesting that the women in question don't really do much around the church. Well, what David does around the church is physically assault me. There's actually video of that. You can just run a search on David Horan Unitarian in YouTube or Google, but it's obviously more efficient to do it in YouTube, and you'll see a video of David Horan assaulting me in September of 2016. Anyway, getting back to the whole Susan Weaver thing, I asked Eric Isaacson, her husband, to ask his wife about what I'd said. Ask her how many cases are there. Ask her, why exactly did you resign? I suspect she may have resigned because she realized what a deep pile of shit she was in as a UUA trustee, who was involved in, ongoing Unitarian Universalist, negligence in response to clergy misconduct complaints and Unitarian Universalist cover-up and denial of clergy sexual abuse and so on. You know, as a UUA moderator, and specifically as the UUA trustee, specifically as a vice moderator, and in that capacity also the chair of the Congregational Boundaries Working Group, which is supposed to be reforming the Unitarian Universalist Association's clergy misconduct policies and procedures. She was clearly in a position to be aware of the fact that the UUA, you know, essentially was continuing to try to hide clergy sexual abuse of the worst kinds, dragging its feet in actually reforming its clergy misconduct policies and procedures. And you know, and she probably, as a lawyer, understood that, you know, she could potentially be held liable for her role in this, and I think that might be why she resigned, or at least one of the reasons why she resigned. Of course, it was announced as, you know, personal and family reasons, but nonetheless, I think chances are pretty good, you know, that Susan Weaver, on reading, you know, some of the letters that I sent to the UUA Board of Trustees as a group, and indeed her as an individual UUA trustee and vice moderator, probably realized that, oh boy, I'm in a very precarious position here. Maybe I should just get out of this mess. And she certainly did get out of that mess by resigning as a UUA trustee and as the vice moderator of the Unitarian Universalist Association. So what happened, of course, is, you know, I actually warned Eric Isaacson, you know, not to delete my comments. You know, I said, if you delete my comments, you know, that will make you a knowing and willful participant in Unitarian Universalist cover-up and denial of clergy sexual misconduct. You know, you'll be guilty of trying to hide the truth from the public and so on. Unfortunately, I can't say that Eric Isaacson deleted my comments, because what he did is he blocked me from seeing his Facebook account. So he made it impossible for me to you know, have a look at his Facebook account by changing the settings, you know. So it's possible the comments are still there, but I think, you know, most likely, based on the fact that he did prevent me from seeing the comments I had posted, he almost certainly did delete them. Which again, you know, it basically just, you know, I warn Unitarian Universalists, you know, that when they hide the truth, they're participating in the cover-up, and they just foolishly go ahead and participate in the cover-up. So anyhow, got the dog walker coming our way, so who knows, maybe we'll have a little chat as he comes by. I think I'll end this segment of video and start a fresh one, because it's